Hi, this is Gary Hines of the three-time Grammy Award-winning Sounds of Blackness, and you're watching Blessings in the Morning on Roku.
And today we have a very special guest in the VIP room. We have Sounds of Blackness director Gary Hines. How are you doing today, sir?
I'm blessed, thank you. On behalf of Sounds of Blackness, it's just an honor to be here.
You have no idea how stoked I am, Gary, to have you here. I mean, come on, Sounds of Blackness. Nothing says Minneapolis music besides the Purple One himself.
Yes, sir.
Then Sounds of Blackness. I mean, let me just start at the very beginning. How did you become part of the phenomenon, the musical phenomenon known as Sounds of Blackness here in Minneapolis? How did that come about?
Sounds of Blackness began at my alma mater, Macalester College, just a few miles from this studio, as you know. In 1969, Macalester embarked on a really ambitious program to conscientiously recruit students of color, Native, African American, Asian, Hispanic, all of those, and they were successful with it. It was called EEOC, Expanded Educational Opportunities. One of the results of that effort was that the students themselves organized a number of different activities. There was a political group called BLAC, which I'm happy to know that still exists. That stands for Black Liberation Affairs Committee. There was a theater group called Black Arts Midwest, Brother Robert McLean. I don't know if you know him. He's well known in St. Paul here. And there was this 50-voice choir called the Macalester College Black Choir, founded by Russell Knighton, a native of Beaumont, Texas. And in January of '71, Russell approached me. He was getting ready to graduate soon, and asked me on as director. And I was very honored to do that because they were very excellent even back then. And the vision, my brother, that God gave me for the group was to continue the tradition of Duke Ellington. Now, that surprises a lot of people when I say that, because we hear Duke's name and we think of jazz, as we should.
Right.
But a lot of people don't know that Duke wrote, performed, and recorded blues, spirituals, African music, every sound of blackness. He did the music of the culture.
Wow.
And so we wanted to stay in that vein, and that's the meaning and the origin of the name, Sounds of Blackness. So a lot of times we're actually misclassified as gospel, but that's a big part of what we do. But we're serious about our name, every sound of blackness: jazz, blues, hip hop, reggae, country, reggae, ragtime, spirituals. And that was our repertoire then, and that's our repertoire now.
That is amazing, Gary. I never knew that.
Yes, sir.
I always associated Sounds of Blackness with gospel.
Right.
I thought it was predominantly gospel, and that's what you guys are. But basically, overall, Sounds of Blackness, every sound genre
Yes, sir.
of the Black voice. I love that. Mr. McKnighton?
Russell Knight.
Russell Knighton.
Yep, a resident of St. Paul to this day.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. So he originally founded Sounds of Blackness.
Founded the Macalester College Black Choir.
Oh, the Black Choir, which
Right.
became
Became Sounds of Blackness in January of '71. So
okay.
As we speak, this is our 54th anniversary as Sounds of
4
Blackness.
years. That is amazing. That is amazing. I'm just going to ask you right out the gate, and I'm probably bouncing around, but out of them whole 54 years, what has to be the most high point in the journey of Sounds of Blackness?
That's a tough one, but I try to always answer when I'm asked. I would have to say, at the top of even a very short list, such as, touring the world with Stevie Wonder and our first Grammy and all those great blessings, I would still have to say at the top of the list, after decades of singing about Africa, the motherland.
Mhm.
Finally going there again with Stevie as part of that tour.
Oh.
We went to a festival called Panafest in Ghana,
Mhm.
Coast and Accra. We were there for about a week.
Oh.
And, Richard Pryor in his movie came back from Africa totally changed. Stop using the N word. He said there's no N's in Africa, that everybody should go. And it was literally a life changing experience. I'll never forget, even as soon as the plane landed, before the greeters let our feet hit the tarmac, they rolled out the red carpet and they stood on the stairway and they said, "Welcome home." Yeah. And we crying, ain't even got off the plane good yet.
Right.
It's like, yo, can we land here before and they right. But
Oh my God.
it was so primordial.
Yeah.
Just the smell, the sights, the warmth of the air,
Mhm.
the colors, the food, the music in the marketplace. It's like, you know what? We are home. Even centuries removed,
Right.
you could feel that. And so that experience, and it's while we were there that week, was literally life changing. So I'd have to put that at the top of a list of a number of really blessed events in the history of Sounds of Blackness.
That is amazing. And I'm probably showing my age. I'm old as dirt here, Gary. But I remember when Richard said that.
Yes, sir.
He said he would no longer use the N word. And that was a big thing because
Really
his
big
whole
thing. Right.
his whole stick was N word this, N word that.
That's right. That's right.
And for him to say that was just like everybody was like, wow. But he still stayed funny.
People did. Oh, he did. And people didn't get it until
Right.
they went to the motherland,
Right.
and they underwent that same change and
Mhm.
had that same experience, and then they got it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Gary, I have to go. I have my friend Ronaldo Cortez. He's a fashion designer. He's living over there, as well as my other good friend Rico Novotion. He travels over
Yeah.
there a lot. And he's supposed to be taking me over there. So hopefully this year I'll be able to go.
Brother, I can't endorse it any more strongly. You'll never be the same. Just like Richard Pryor said, I guarantee you.
Man, I remember that. I mean, when he did that.
Just amazing,
It's a
amazing,
life-changing experience.
life changing. Like I say, and we met with some of the chiefs of the nation states, Igbo and Fulani and Ashanti, and they would look at you, and they looked at different one of us, and look you right in the face. They were not looking at the color of your skin; they were looking at your features,
Mm-hmm.
and they would look at you and say, "Fulani," and they would look at this one and say, "Ashanti." I mean, with no hesitation whatsoever. No, now this is not about DNA and all those kinds of things. And those are wonderful things, and people should use that.
Right.
But these are people who knew and had that third eye wisdom to be able to look and say who your people were. And they refer to us there as the lost children, that we were lost to the sea.
Right.
And we another thing that made it
It's so deep.
it is
You're giving me
it's too
chills
deep,
right now,
brother.
brother.
So you understand?
You're giving me chills right now.
Oh, well, as my North Carolina side of the family would say, I'm fitting to give you another one.
Oh my God.
So as we're walking back to the bus coming from the Elmina slave dungeons, which standing in there just was overwhelming, where thousands were kept in rooms smaller than this,
Mhm.
and separate the men and women. You could hear your relatives crying when they couldn't get to them, and then they go into the bowels of the ship. They call it the door of no return.
Mhm.
But we went to the Elmina slave castles and experienced that. But as we're walking across the beach, leaving the castles to our buses to go back to the hotel, who should we run into but the late Nigerian master drummer, Babatunde Olatunji, okay, who is a minister and was when we say master drummer, Babatunde Olatunji could play simultaneously in 3 time signatures. There's a lot of good drummers
Do beat pattern.
who
I'm
can't
trying to
play
find it in my head.
3 time signatures. So when we say master drummer, but it gets deeper than that. 30 years prior, my brother, he was at Minneapolis Central High School and Bryan Junior High School, where Prince went to school, where I went to school.
Mhm.
He had brought his troupe there, and they did an auditorium for us, and we were never the same. We wanted to follow him all over the city and asked the principal to let us go so we could follow this man. And of course, the principal said no, and of course, we walked out anyway.
Right.
He remembered 30 years. Here we are walking to the bus, and he pointed at me. And I was telling the group, that's Babatunde Olatunji. He points back at me. He didn't remember my name, but he remembered my face. And he said, you had the students walk and follow me. And so always been kind of a militant, as they say.
Mm-hmm.
And remember, 30 years later, and he got us in a circle and led us in a prayer of reconnection and reconciliation for the children who were lost to the sea. I mean, so that's why I put it. I know long answer to your question.
Yeah.
Those kind of experiences are why I put it at the top.
Oh, wow. How does that he remembered you after 30 years?
Right.
30 years.
Just that, like I say, just that third eye wisdom, and that clarity of mind,
Right.
and all of that. Yeah, that African insight and foresight, that we lost to some degree, through the plantation experience and all of that. But he brought it right there and just right in your eye and
Right.
made that connection.
Wow.
Yeah.
That Lost to the Sea
Yeah.
reference, that's the one that.
And the lost children, yes, sir.
Oh, wow. That's amazing. So how many albums would you say that y'all have put out over these 54 years?
I believe the grand total is between 12 and 15.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And 4 of them on the major label with a shout out to Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis,
Okay.
Our brothers, and we love and still work with, occasionally, even though they've relocated to LA.
Mm-hmm.
But that bond will never be broken.
Did you ever go to the studios that they had over there in Eden Prairie at the one time?
We live there. Okay. Trust me, I'm not exaggerating. I was number one.
Oh my
I was
God.
blessed to be hired by them as a staff producer in 1990.
Oh, nice.
And easily 16 hour days. It would fly by. We would look up, and it'd be the next day.
Mm-hmm.
When Sound started recording that, Evolution of Gospel, our first record with them,
Mm-hmm.
really was almost 2 years in the making. We started recording in late '89. We had just recorded for Alexander O'Neal
Mm-hmm.
on a lot of people call it his best record, his Christmas record called My Gift to You.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people don't know that Alexander O'Neal is an originally Sounds of Blackness member. When he moved to Minneapolis,
He was a member of the time too.
well, in fact, the progression was
Okay.
he moved to Minneapolis from
Mhm.
Natchez, Mississippi, or as he says, the SIP. Moved to Minneapolis from the SIP.
The Mississippi.
And the first group he joined was Sounds of Blackness. There's 2 people that I can remember in 54 years of auditions whose auditions I stopped short. Ann Nesby and Alexander O'Neal.
Mm.
I got about halfway through his audition and I stopped on my standard scales and it's like, brother, welcome aboard.
Welcome home.
This obviously extraordinary. He was with us about a year and then to the time and then on to the soul. So the Minneapolis family roots go deep with and through Sounds of Blackness and Prince and Jam and Lewis and Jimmy and Jelly Bean and Jesse, all of the Andre. It really is a family.
Gary, I'm just gonna say it. I'm absolutely stoked to be in your presence with all these great people that you worked with, and you are a legend yourself. We're gonna take a quick break, and we'll be right back. We have Gary Hines here in the VIP room.
Hi, Melody by Melody, and this is my new brand, Melody by Melody. Hi, I'm Melody wearing Melody by Melody. Tap in.
What's up? This is your boy DJ Backbone. When I'm chilling, I'm rocking Melody by Melody. It's going down. Tap in.
My name is Melody Doyle. Tap in, get yourself some, and support other people who are trying to remain in recovery. That is my goal, to help others and give back to the community.
And we are back in the VIP room with Gary Hines, director of Sounds of Blackness. You was just telling me about you working at Flight Time Studios. Did you ever meet Janet, Gary?
I did.
Okay. Cut action. Let's go home. You met Miss Jackson.
Yes, she also for a while was living out at Flight Time, even through the Control record and all that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Jelly Bean writing Black Cat and all those times. So
Yeah.
lots of time obviously there, and she also, to this day, is a big Sounds of Blackness supporter, and we call her again extended family member. Jam and Lewis brought her. In fact, they were recording control, and they gave her a little break. Sounds of Blackness was performing our Music from Martin concert at the Ordway Theater, and that was January of, I believe, either 90 or 91, and sold out. Blessed with a sold out concert.
Oh, that's awesome.
And all of a sudden, about 10 minutes before we're about to start, here comes Jam and Lewis with Janet on arm. And of course, the crowd just, kind of thing. But they were respectful. They just sat down kind of thing. Anyway, after the concert, I'll never forget, she came backstage, and met the whole group and all that kind of thing. And she really does do a Jekyll and Hyde thing. I mean, she's soft-spoken, sweet, whatever kind of thing. And then, of course, on stage, she turns into Sasha Fierce.
Right.
But I'll never forget Jam and Lewis, when we got back to flight time and they dropped Janet at the hotel, they said, Doctor, that's always been their nickname for me. And they said, Doc, we're going to get this record out right away, because we had basically finished recording our first record with them, Evolution of Gospel, which is based on one of Sounds of Blackness concert productions. But they said, man, the whole time during you guys' concert tonight, Janet kept elbowing us in the ribs saying, you guys, the world's got to hear this right now. Don't wait, put them out right away, kind of thing. So that story got out to the press, and it kind of got a little misconstrued. People were like, Janet Jackson discovered Sounds of Blackness, but no, we go back. No, and I get it. People get things mixed up. But we go back with Jam and Lewis and Prince to the 70s and all that. But what she did do by literally elbowing them in the ribs was to encourage them to not wait any longer and put out Sounds of Blackness right. And next thing, that spring, we were out with Optimistic.
Wow.
So we always give Janet that love as well.
Optimistic. Let's talk about that song. I love that song.
Thank you.
That song, it was just the timing of that song too. That's when hip hop was in a different place as well.
That's right.
That's when Black Afrocentric was the thing to be.
Yes, sir.
Before all this crazy gangster rap came in.
Right.
To me, in my eyes, and I'm old school, that was the best era in hip hop. That was the best era in music, when it talked about uplifting, and just coming together.
Yes.
Instead of, now it's about any and everything.
Right.
But that song, just the dance moves, the music, the beat, everything about it just takes me back to that In Living Color era.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And I love it. We don't have that no more. It's gone.
No, and you point out a couple of important things about Optimistic. The drum program done by our great friend Lance Alexander of the production team, LA and Prop T, from the group that was our label mates there, and from Kansas City. But he did that Teddy Riley New Jack swing.
Yes.
That Optimistic is premised on.
Killed it.
Right in the group, and of course, Jam and Lewis, the production, and then we worked on the lyrics and the vocal arrangements and all that with them. But I'll never forget, speaking of Optimistic, the reason I think, that you're feeling that specialness about it, we had recorded 12 songs for Evolution of Gospel. And I'll never forget, one night I was, working in the side studio, and Jam and Lewis called me into their office, and they said, Doc, we know we got a great album here. He said, but we think we want to do one more that will be universal in its appeal, and that will be a classic, and that will stand the test of time. And the word optimistic keeps ruminating. So we were in their office all night, lyrics and vocal arrangement, and they did the track and all that. We brought the group in that next night, and it was literally magical.
Oh, wow.
It was, that I wish we had videoed that.
Oh, wow.
And nobody wanted to go home, and that wasn't always the case. We keep them there all night, and nobody wanted to leave the studio that night. Right.
They didn't want to leave that night.
Magical, and so the fact that people like Chance the Rapper and Robert Glasper and Brandy and on have redone Optimistic, and it has stood the test of time.
It has.
Yeah.
And I don't know if y'all planned that well. Y'all said y'all needed a song to stop, but every time you plan it, it don't always work out.
Right.
That song is still hot today.
Yeah. Well, yes, sir.
Let's talk about Be Thankful. Now, I run it on my channel right now.
Thank you.
Buddy McLean.
Yes.
That gentleman, man, he's amazing.
He really is.
I remember when he was a little Buddy
Little
McLean.
buddy, right?
We did a show back at First Avenue in the main room
Mhm.
back in 2000, and we became close then. But over the years, I've seen him do his thing, and he went through a tragedy with his son.
He did.
And I wrote about that in my magazine as well. But you know, Buddy McLean, his spirit, something about that guy, you know, is just you can see it. You know,
Yeah.
he's been through something.
Yeah.
He's still going through something.
Yes, he
Anytime you lose your son, I lost my son. And my son was grown.
God bless you. So,
So, you know, I can relate to him. It wasn't in that manner, but regardless of however they go, when
Right.
you lose somebody, your offspring, you know, you're supposed to outlive your kids.
how about that?
And when you go when they go before you, that leaves a void.
Yeah.
But shout out to Buddy McLean. I just want to give him shout outs. And he did a great job on that song, too.
Yes, he did, and he co-wrote and co-produced it with Sounds of Blackness' own Jamesia Bennett.
Jamesia Bennett.
She directed, conceptualized, and directed our video. So she's multi-talented, and like you say, the song it's counterintuitive. A lot of people are like, you know, that was such a great and happy song, and it's funky and soulful, and it's all those things. But then when I tell them this is actually in honor of Amir Locke, who was murdered senselessly by Minneapolis police, practically in his sleep, they
Right.
say. So the response to that horrific act is the song "Thankful," and it's like, yes, Buddy is adamant about the fact that he went through and still goes through a range of emotion, obviously rage and
Absolutely.
disgust and hurt and heartache and all that. But he said the bottom line was that through it all, he was still thankful for the years that he had with Amir, thankful for his memories, and so that was the genesis of "Thankful."
In the video, there are pictures that move and come to life.
Yes, 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 sir.
I love the video.
You've been watching.
I run the video on my channel
sir.
every morning.
Thank you.
Blessings in the morning. You guys are just awesome. What's next? Let's jump past that. You guys are up for a NAACP Image Award. Tell us a little bit about that.
Thank you. Yes, all thanks and praise be to God for that, and congratulations to Sounds of Blackness singers and band, and to Jamesia and Buddy, who are the featured soloists on the record, and did the video. We learned literally just about a little less than 24 hours ago that we were blessed with a nomination for "Thankful"
Oh my God.
in the category of Outstanding Group or Duo and
Wow.
Collaboration, and so and we're up against some real heavyweights kind of thing. But so I've been telling the group, and I said at rehearsal last night, you know, we've already won. You know, win, lose, or draw, as my old football coach used to say.
You already won.
Already won.
Before the game even starts.
That's it. With this nomination, just such a blessing. And so
Yeah.
the Image Awards will air February 22nd on BET and CBS. We will be blessed that they give each nominee, you know, just a few tickets. We're hoping for a performance so we can take the whole group out.
Right.
We'll be talking
And if
about
that's the case, I'm putting on a robe.
that. There you go.
Where you come from?
There you
Who you ain't in the group?
but part of the family, though.
I'm part of the family,
Yes,
though.
sir.
I'm part of
Yes,
the family. Absolutely.
Yeah, we're looking forward to that, and we're also looking forward to, in terms of upcoming for Sounds, in not too long, on January 20th, of course, Martin Luther King, the commemoration of his birthday. General Mills will be doing their annual Martin Luther King breakfast. They get like 4,000 or 5,000 people this year. We'll be back at the
Do this every
convention
year.
center.
Yeah.
They do it every year, and so we're blessed to provide the music for that this year,
Nice.
and greatly looking forward to that.
Nice. Okay. So when I watch the video, I see like 20, 30 people.
Mhm.
That's not the whole entire. There's a small core of Sounds of Blackness members, or is everyone an equal member? Like,
In that video,
'Cause this-
there are definitely what we call extras. Everybody in the video is not a member of the group,
okay.
but all of the group was in the video, so they're just
Right.
the flip side of the coin kind of thing. So, but in terms of our numbers, Sounds of Blackness, we have 16 singers total,
Okay.
and we've got a 9-piece band, 3 horns,
Oh, nice.
guitar, bass, percussion, 2 keys, drummer, of course, Big Larry Robinson, who's also a caterer as well, Big L's. So 25 total. And then our touring ensemble is just over half that, 17. So that's like 9 singers and 8 band members. And then sometimes we do just tracks. So we have different configurations for different situations.
Right.
So that we're able to accommodate whoever the client is.
Right. I know traveling got to be sort of a challenge, right? I mean, to be able to accommodate that many people and trying to
Well,
get up from here to there.
yes and no, because you know what the thing with that, and this is another thing I think that seems counterintuitive, is that the travel industry is actually designed more so for group travel. So if you go through the group desk, which obviously we do in most instances, kind of thing, then that really facilitates a lot of the logistics with that. Everything from the tickets themselves, the seating, the ground transportation, and sometimes connected with the hotel.
Okay.
So yeah, we follow that
Sure, it
paradigm.
works out.
Yes, sir.
Okay. You guys don't have like a tour bus or nothing like that, right?
We do
Kind
not.
of like
No,
a Superfly.
the event that we're being involved with, provides the ground transportation.
Okay.
So we fly like 99% of the time.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Gary, man, this interview could go on forever. Let me just go back here real
Come
quick.
back.
Before, yes, please. We absolutely have to have you back, as well as some other members
Absolutely.
as well. So you worked with Jimmy and Terry. You worked with God, we just talked about him. He was in your group and left
Alex-
to the time.
Alex.
Alexander O'Neill.
Or Xander, as we call
His favorite song of mine is "Criticize"
it.
because the bass line.
Yeah.
Oh my God, yeah.
That Jam and Lewis baseline.
Man, Jam and Lewis did it. You worked with Prince as well, right?
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about that.
Prince, that's another relationship that goes back 40 plus years.
Amazing.
Minneapolis Central High School and Bryant Junior High School, which is now Sabathia Community Center, just a few blocks apart. I'm a native New Yorker. When I moved here, I was at Bryant Junior High School. Then I went down the block to Minneapolis Central. I say all that to say this. I'll never forget my senior year at Central. I started to hear rumors about this kid down at Bryant who was a beast on every instrument. Well, guess who that was? Okay. And so the relationship goes way back. Prince always came to Sounds of Blackness shows. He would do things. He was so humble. He would sit up in the lighting booth just so he wouldn't be a distraction from the show. And he would do that at the Ordway, at the Guthrie, our 60 show, our Christmas show, all the time support. And then when he got the opportunity to do the soundtrack for the first Batman movie with Jack Nicholson, he called us in. And I'll never forget, he called, he would call at 2 or 3 in the morning like it was midday, didn't answer and he had a couple little quirks, although he was a very regular guy and a great athlete, by the way. And then one of the quirks is that he would frequently call you by your full name. So 2 or 3 in the morning, phone, ring. I said, oh my God, somebody's sick, dead or in jail. And Gary Hines. And I called him Maestro. I say, hey Maestro, how you doing? I have an idea for Sounds of Blackness, Gary Hines. So that's okay. And then just go right, not where you were asleep. Is this a bad thing? No, just go right into the idea. So I want the group at the studio, the dad tonight for this. I can't tell you what it is. At the time, it was under wraps, so he couldn't even tell us what it was. And we'll just be a couple of hours. Of course, we got out to Paisley. We were there all night. So much for the couple of hours. But it wound up being the Batman soundtrack.
Right.
And then, we opened up for him on the Love Sexy tour and just counted. Yeah, and so... And the parties, the rehearsals, the videos, the Optimistic video was shot at Paisley Sounds stage. Oh yeah, I believe Paisley. Pressure. So we spent a lot of time at Paisley, especially on the videos. Yep. So with Prince and all of that, and so it's still hard to go out there. After we lost him, I wasn't able to bring myself. I didn't go there until a few years later, when Billboard was out there. That was my first time out there. The Billboard when Sounds performed and Ann was there and Jam and Lewis kind of thing. And it was still kind of surreal to be out there, without him kind of thing. So yeah, a friend and brother, and he really could hoop. People think that was a myth.
Said.
Oh yeah. No, he was also one of his favorite things to do, because athletes and celebrities would come out to Paisley, and he kept a hoop out there kind of thing. And he would say, "You want to do a little one-on-one?" And they'd laugh, because of his height. They didn't know. and he would take them to the hole.
Every time.
Every time. Yeah, that's a true story, I promise you.
We just lost his sister.
I take
Taika.
baby girl Taika. I know she's grown. That's how far we back go. 'Cause
Right,
we
right,
call her
right.
Baby girl Taika.
Absolutely.
And it's like, oh my God.
Yes, not
And the day before that was Quincy Jones.
Quincy Jones. I
Yes,
know.
that was a rough weekend.
Yeah.
I think we lost Quincy on that Sunday and then Taika on that Monday or something like that.
Right,
A
weird.
few weeks ago, and it was like, yeah. And Quincy, God bless him, Dean Maestro was a great supporter and friend of Sounds. It just so that was a hard 48 hours.
I bet. Absolutely. Gary, we absolutely gonna have to have you come back for another show.
We got stories.
Man, you got some stories and you got so much history with you. It's an honor and privilege to have you here on the platform.
The feeling's mutual.
I know that they're gonna enjoy this interview. Anything you want to say before we wrap everything up? You want to get shouts out? Maybe to the group? Or
Yes, dude.
anyone?
To Sounds of Blackness, past, present, and future. To the Twin Cities, the Minnesota entire community, red, brown, yellow, black, white, young, old, male, female, all that have supported Sounds of Blackness for the past 54 years. This is a chance to say thank you. We can make all the music we want, but without people like you, my brother, supporting it and putting it out there, without the support of the community, it's for naught. So this is a chance on behalf of Sounds of Blackness to say a heartfelt thank you.
No, thank you. And thank you to Melody Doyle. I got to get shouts out to her. She
Big
brought
time.
you here.
Yes.
Man, I'm deeply indebted to her and you. Man, this was a great interview. I don't want it to end. We are in the VIP room with Gary Hines, director of Sounds of Blackness. We will see y'all soon. Thank you, Gary.
Thank you, my brother. I give you a little old school. I'm gonna do you like the farmer did the tomato. Plant you now and dig you later.
I love it.
That's some old barbershop for you.
Plant it up, dig you later.
Yes. You got to go to the barbershop to hear that.
Right. That's old school too.
Right. Not the salon, the
Not
barbershop.
the barbershop. Yo. Y'all take care. Peace. Say peace, Gary.
Peace.
We are here today with Melody Doyle in the VIP room. How are you today, Melody?
I'm awesome. How are you?
I'm doing great. Great to have you here in our platform here. Want to talk to you. You got a lot of things going on. I'm not going to hold up or waste any time, I should say. We're going to jump right into it. Let's talk about you and the Sounds of Blackness.
Awesome. Yeah, I sing with the 3-time Grammy Award winning group, The Sounds of Blackness. This is actually a medallion that I was fortunate enough to commission Angel Stately to make for me. Yeah, it took a long time. I can't even imagine. I have been with Sounds of Blackness. Actually, I met Gary Hines in North High. I was in high school and he used to come direct.
You've known him since high school?
Yeah, I met him then. And he used to come direct Black History Month choir every February. But he always wanted me to join the choir because I was in varsity choir. But we would go to vacation like to Mexico for 2 weeks once a year, and it was always during that same time. And so I wasn't able to sing with him, but when I graduated from high school, I auditioned to be a reindeer in the Christmas show in 92, and I got in and toured with them for a little bit doing the Christmas show. And I then traveled, did some top 40 band stuff like in Korea for the troops over there for 6 months. Did a lot of singing with top 40 bands, cruise ships, things like that. And then I got back with the group 6.5 years ago. And between that time, there was about a 25-year stitch where nobody knew where I was. Nobody knew what was going on. I kind of dropped off of the normal, grid of society. And my alcoholism really got the best of me at that point and progressed. And so I was homeless and nobody knew how to reach me. There was no phone, no, anything like that.
You're totally off the grid.
Right. Everybody's like, well, how come nobody helped you? And they didn't know.
Right.
They didn't know.
And you probably didn't want to.
I didn't want to know. Exactly. So, yeah.
And I know, because when I met you at the show at the development, That was really our first time meeting, and we connected, and we kind of talked off and on for a little bit, but eventually we started working together. Whenever you mention the stories about you being homeless, you being an alcoholic, and uh, sleeping under bridges and stuff like that, I can't fathom that. Because from what I see and know of you now, that kind of seems far fetched. That only tells me that God brought you out of something.
Oh, big time, big time.
And it takes all the strength in the world to bounce back from something like that. You just don't go from that to being okay again.
Right.
So obviously, that was a road, that was a journey. Who would you say was the most instrumental person with you on that journey, on your road to recovery?
First of all, I would say God, of course. You know, believing in God has changed everything for me. And the other person I'm gonna say would be Bart Riney, and that's my foster dad.
Okay.
He also got into a life of selling crack cocaine, drinking a lot every day. And now he has 22 plus years sobriety.
Awesome.
We're roommates. He's my mentor. So we split a 2-bedroom condo and we've each got our own side. And I get to see this 80-year-old beautiful black man get up every morning and go to work full time. He drives for Quicksilver. It's intense. And then he helps people. He does nothing but help other people. He goes to 3 meetings a week, and that's what he does, you know, and he's very solid with it. So for me, that was awesome seeing that consistency. Oh man, I mean, of course I've stepped to the side many, many times. I never go backwards, I say, but there's some times I've sized that maybe, you know, start doing old behaviors, right? But I'm not drinking. It's like they say when you take the alcoholic or you take the alcohol away from the alcoholic, all you have left is ick. Like that's so, you know, you see some people like a dry drunk, right?
I never heard that, but okay.
God.
That makes sense.
And it's just miserable. It's like just go drink if you're gonna be that miserable. But you know, he helped me, he taught me how to be a mom. You know, took me to buy my son's first bed and was like, we're gonna go set it up. I'm gonna get a truck, we're gonna buy it, or you know. And he helped me get my license back. And I hadn't driven in 12 years. He co-signed for 2 vehicles for me. Now, this is the part I love about this man. You know, Bart had co-signed for another fella right before me. And he also had a DWI, so he needed to get the Intoxilock installed. Well, he never did. And then he got another DWI right after my dad co-signed. So we got stuck with the whole bill. This man still stuck his neck out for me. And that's the kind of kindness, you know, real honest, sincere kindness, and wanting to do good by people and see people succeed. That's my biggest influence.
Everybody needs that person in their life, even if it's just one person. And that person could come in any form. It could be family, it could be friend. That is just awesome. So basically, y'all helped each other. He obviously isn't selling crack anymore.
Right. He's got great sobriety. You know, he's a veteran.
Awesome.
Opened up a nonprofit recently for veterans, and
awesome.
he's kind of advising me. Thank God, you know, because I want to give back too. And so I'm opening up a nonprofit. I just got the EIN and the business bank account open today, so I'm grateful.
That's amazing.
It's a slow process, but yeah, I want to be able to help other people heal like I did through art, you know, any kind of art.
Absolutely. So you with Sounds of Blackness, you separated from them, you say like 6, 7 years?
I just got back with them 6.5 years ago, and prior to that, it was about 20. God, it's been a long time. It was like 20 years I was missing.
Were you with them when they did Optimistic?
I wasn't actually. I joined right after.
Okay.
Yep. And then I was, like I said, you know.
Are you in the Thankful video?
I am.
I love that video.
And I love Buddy McLean, and I love Jamesia Bennett. Another beautiful role model.
Shout out to Jamesia and to Buddy McLean. Absolutely. Me and Buddy McLean.
It's a beautiful song. It really is. I loved it from the minute I heard it. And the video was it was really cool.
Looks like y'all had a great time.
We did.
Shooting too.
Yeah.
It was more of a party.
It was Thanksgiving, and we were all thankful, and it was just perfect.
So it actually was Thanksgiving because y'all had the food out.
Yeah.
So it was actually Thanksgiving on that day.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
So I'm like, that's really cool. Yeah.
Wow.
And for me, you know, I had lost my mom at 18, so it was like I didn't have that family.
Mhm.
And the reason I'm naming my nonprofit Easy to See is that I had everything right there in front of me. I just didn't believe it.
Mhm.
And I think that's the case with most of us in life. We already have what we need, but we think we got to go outside of ourselves to get it. Really, I just need to go outside of myself for inspiration,
Right.
you know, to tap into what I already have. Um, so that's, yeah.
What's coming up for Sounds of Blackness?
We've got a show coming up on the 20th. Um, I believe we might have gotten an inquiry, possible show in Chicago
Okay.
on the same day. So it may be 2 shows in one day type of deal.
Oh, wow.
I just got the text today, so I haven't really looked at it very well. But um, we are booked for the Soul Train cruise next year for
Awesome.
2026. We've secured that, which is awesome.
That is awesome.
And yeah, got some more gigs coming up. We rehearse twice a week, and it's an honor. It's like getting free vocal lessons from one of the best, you know, directors in the business.
Yeah.
Worked with everybody from Michael Jackson to Prince to Aretha Franklin, you know. And that is such an honor to me to have a huge, big family like that. And to be accepted as light as I am with my hair being white. I always say I'm the whitest one with the whitest hair, right? Because everybody's like, which one are you? You know, and I'm like, right here. No. But you know, it's so cool to love who I am today, man. You know, and I thought all these years it was about getting sober. You know, no, it's like it's not about not using or not drinking. It's about loving me so much I don't have to.
Right.
Because I don't want to alter what I already have, you know. And that took a long time to get to.
Melody, the more I find out about you, the more I realize you are truly amazing. Just the more I find out about you, the more I come to learn about you. It's just never ending astonishment. Just you. I ain't even gonna touch on the other thing right now. I just want to stay focused on the music part. Are you guys recording any more music soon? Or?
I don't know that off the top of my head, but I'm sure we will be. Usually we try to come out with some new stuff at least once a year.
Okay.
So I'm hoping to be doing something new. I'm also going to be writing a musical about my life, 60 to 80-minute musical.
Okay.
And it kind of will cover, you know, my youth growing up, identity issues, never feeling quite like I fit in, and how that all plays a role, you know, with my mom passing as soon as I turned 18, and then, you know, the downfall, what happened, what was it like, and then a redemption song at the end and the ending. I think that would be awesome.
Will the Sounds of Blackness be involved with that?
I'm hoping so. They've already said that anything I do, they're willing to be a part of. And so that's, you know, you got to reach out and call people in and say, hey, I need you. Let's do this. It's not something I'm used to, is collaborating. You know, I don't, in fact, I never liked doing any of my art around anybody. But that had to do with, I think, some self-esteem that was going on. So now I reach out. I just reach out. I'm like, hey, you want to do this? Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Pray it, you know, like I met Denise Williams on the Soul Train cruise, and she's like my idol. You know what I'm saying? Let's hear for the boy. That was my jam. Okay. So when I met her, I just thought, man, so we text once in a while. I'm hoping, you know, to get her to do a drop for my websites, right?
That would be nice.
That'd be awesome.
That'd be nice.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have Melody Doyle here in the VIP room. We'll be right back.
Get your blessings in the morning with DJ Boom on Roku worldwide.
And we are back in the VIP room with the one and only Miss Melody Doyle. Let's talk about your clothing line.
Oh, awesome. I actually didn't even know that I could paint until I ended up at a treatment center, you know, one of the many. But I had nothing but time on my hands, and this woman came in who did art therapy. And I found it so it would just take me for hours, like out of my head. Because mostly I'm in my head a lot, and the anxiety and stuff comes from that. But the art, it just like I could escape like I did with the drinking, but I wouldn't have consequences. I was like, this is awesome, you know? Um, and so I really started enjoying it, and as I, you know, grew in my artistic ability, I did murals. And so this piece that I'm wearing is actually a mural I painted at a treatment center that no longer exists. And it was just a year ago. So they painted over that wall, and I figured I could make the art live on forever and put it on my clothing and sell it. You know, that would be sweet because I really like the pieces. And so that combined with, I have a really good seamstress, and she works with Sounds of Blackness and a lot of sports team. Stevie Ray Hardigan, Stevie Lynn Hardigan. There it is. I said Stevie Ray tonight. That's funny. She does all the bling attire for the bling clothing, the Melody by Melody brand.
Nice.
And you can see both of these on my website, and it does talk about my journey. Because I'm also a worker, you know, a certified peer recovery specialist, and I'm able to help other women based on all that experience I have at being homeless. Isn't that amazing? I don't need a degree.
That is amazing. You know what really got you? Because it's kind of like you were in that lifestyle, so you can relate to them
Oh, for sure.
much more than someone who went to school for 4 years.
Right.
Because they went and learned the textbook. You learned hard knocks from the streets, which is always, I think, is the best.
And it changes, you know. I mean, after COVID hit, you know, I was sober, thank God. And it's like, I look back and I'm like, wow, everything changed after that, you know. So, yeah.
I love that design. You know, I'm very familiar with it. My daughter is one of your brand ambassadors. Shout out to Melody.
Melody Rose, my girl.
Melody Rose, that's her name too. And the logo is a rose.
Oh, that's so cool.
How could that have worked out any better?
You know, and that's the way life is. I love it when I can just go somewhere, even in the conversation now, get chills because you know that it's synchronicity. You know, it's confirmation of God, and that someone else is in charge. You know what I'm saying? I could never predict some of the cool things that turn out. I think their mistakes are, you know, maybe unfortunate things, but then it's like, God, that was so meant to be.
So you are a singer, songwriter, Grammy Award winner, fashion designer, community advocate,
Yes.
but first and foremost, a mom.
Yes.
I love
Aw.
your name and I love your kids' name. Share it with the world. What are your kids' names?
Rhythm is my son's name, and Harmony is my daughter's name.
And your name is Melody.
Yes.
All I'm hearing is music right now.
I know.
I love that. I love that. Tell us a little bit about Rhythm. We had the opportunity of meeting him,
Yes.
but
yes.
elaborate on him. He's a bright kid, and I love that he want to rap and he want to play football. But
Uh-huh.
yeah, just tell us something
You
about
know,
him.
rhythm is my heart. I call him my anchor. Whenever I have thoughts of just getting out and doing what I want to do and, you know, forget about the world, it's like I think about him and, oh, no, we got to come back to earth.
Yep.
You know, he's getting A's and B's in school.
Awesome.
My son has lived with his grandma, his dad's mother, since I had signed over custody due to my using and drinking lifestyle. So I had signed over custody when he was like 3 or 4. And she's,
I know that must have been difficult.
it really was. But at the same time, I think deep in my heart, I knew that it was better for him. And so
God, that's one of them hard decisions, though, Melody.
it really was. It was very hard. And then there was times that it got so bad, you know, they were like, if you even come around, we're going to get a restraining order. Don't come over, don't call, you know. And that was tough going back to treatment and doing the right thing
You told
regardless.
us that you gotta come see your own son.
Yeah, and but I remember I had to humble myself. I had to humble myself and understand.
Yeah.
Everything I put him through is molding his life.
Right.
This is serious business. I drank with both of my children when I was pregnant.
Wow.
And I don't really talk about that. I know that there may be some issues, for sure with my daughter there is. I'm not quite sure with my son. We still want to get him tested. But the one thing I'm grateful for is he doesn't remember a lot of any of that. You know what I mean? Like my
Right.
drinking. He really, honestly, I don't think he's ever seen me drink.
That's awesome.
And that's crazy. So it's
Yeah.
like, wow, and he's seen me struggle getting sober. That first year, I had to take shots to help with cravings every month. And then that was done. And it's like, wow, I made it to a year. And then it just started going fast. It was like, whoa, how many years has it been? Do I have 4 or 5? No way. And then, now it's like, wow, 6.5. And
Wow.
I'm just grateful my son is as nice and loving as he is.
So he don't hold any ill will or anything against you or
No.
anything like that. You were too young to remember at 3 or 4. And you were able to pull yourself back together.
I know my
When you
daughter,
felt
unfortunately, she's in her 20s.
Mhm.
And bless her wherever she
That's
is.
harmony.
Yes. I haven't heard from her in about a year. I do pray that she's being watched over. I know when I was her age, you couldn't tie me down. You couldn't even locate me. I was like, I'm an adult now and I can drink and I can drive. But I just pray that God will bring her safely back to me and that we can get together and I can show her everything that's going on.
Melody, your journey is an amazing one. Filled with many highs, many lows as well. What would you say would be the thing that stands out aside from the birth of your children? What one thing that you consider the most influential that has happened to you in your journey so far? Be it getting the Grammy, be it being in Africa with Sounds of Blackness, you starting your own clothing line.
That is, I mean, truly and honestly, the biggest thing I can think of is definitely doing my own business. And because now I'm the boss, and that really plays on my self-esteem, it plays on boundaries. And so the job I would do actually helps me with that a little bit. But I'm getting more confidence and more ability, I guess, to deal with life on life's terms.
So
And opening my own business is like I've been talking about it forever. It's like I'm gonna write a book, I'm gonna do a documentary, I knew in my heart this is all stuff I wanted to do. But when you start doing it and then you realize there's so many more steps than you imagined, and it's like, I don't know how to do this. But then the next day you get it done and you're like, wow, maybe I am ready. So yeah, it's an awesome undertaking. I do help females right now. I've got a gal that I helped get a room for rent and called an organization, got them to do the funding. I mean, it just worked out like that.
So you work in the housing industry as well, meaning like you help people get housed and
Yeah.
kind of similar to what I do. We do
Right.
similar things, but it's the same goal, I should say.
Right.
Getting
Right.
people off the streets.
And making sure that,
Yeah.
that I'm working with them and meeting them where they're at. It's a lot different from a sponsor role. A lot of people are on medical cannabis, and I don't judge. You know what I'm saying? I can't look at their sobriety like mine
Right.
because everybody's is different.
Everyone has a different
Right.
story on it. Yep.
Hmm.
Yep. And things affect people differently.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You in your housing uh is that your full-time job?
Yes, I
Working
work.
with the homeless?
Absolutely. I work with Teen Challenge and Minnesota Prevention and Recovery Alliance, nonprofit and Teen Challenge. They kind of work together. So that's who I'm working for now. I have 6 clients currently, and I work full time, learning so much, learning a lot. Wellness plans, how to help others create their own wellness plan, and so I got to do my wellness plan because I can't be showing somebody how to do what I haven't done.
Help me with my wellness plan. I need
So
I need it real bad.
okay,
Yeah.
I know.
You're so crazy. There's more than the tagline, yeah.
Right.
But
But and realistically, we've got physical, spiritual, emotional, financial, right? All those areas. And it's a lot to think about, but even just having a goal in each area,
Mm-hmm.
that's, it's short term, it's measurable, achievable, all that.
How do you balance everything with your full-time job, with the clothing line, with the Sounds of Blackness,
It's
with your
getting,
children?
it's getting easier.
Time for yourself.
That's the biggest one. I know, right? I know it's tough.
How are you juggling all these things,
Well, I think a lot of it is I'm learning how to organize. And I don't always hit the mark. There's we'll just say this last week it was Tuesday. I had no idea. I thought it was Monday. And because it got so crazy. It was like, what? And then, Gary's like, where were you at rehearsal? I'm like, what do you mean? Oh, last night? My bad. But you're going to do that interview, right? It's just like, eh. So, but I used to just take that stuff personally and like I was a failure if I messed up. And now I've learned how to laugh it off and just keep it real. Lots going on right now.
Mm-hmm. So,
Juggling it for me is more. It's a lot easier. I have one computer for my job. That's the only one I use for my clients, for my job, and a separate phone line that I have on my phone that I use just for that.
mm-hmm.
And that helps a lot. And then the
There
other.
are times that you know when to shut it off.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
Because that's where it gets crazy.
Ring nonstop.
Is when them roles, start intertwining from mom to girlfriend to, you know what I mean? To employee to worker to artist to singer.
Mhm.
And a lot of me time that I take for me is doing art and singing. So it works
One
out.
title I left out. I'm sorry. Painter.
Oh, that's
How long you been painting?
I started in 2002.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh.
I was in a treatment. They did art therapy
You said
and I
2002?
really benefited. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So I didn't even know I
20
could paint until then. It was really strange. And then I started that and then I just kept going.
And you just don't paint. You paint like murals.
Well, I do portraits, murals, anything really. Recently I did one for one of my mentors in Sounds of Blackness, Bridget Dawkins, wonderful, wonderful woman. And I don't know, her face just, because when I paint now, it creates itself. I don't like sketch it out and be like, this is what I'm going to do. You know what I mean? I'll start it and then it will create itself. So I saw her in it. So now she's going to have her own painting,
Nice.
which is nice. Yeah.
That is awesome. Awesome. Melody, we could talk to you forever. You got a lot of stuff going on. I really appreciate you taking time to come out and visit us here on this platform. It's always a pleasure. You guys probably already know that we did the commercial for the Melody by Melody.
Yes.
My daughter's in it, Melody's in it, I'm in it as well. Why don't you give them that website and I'm gonna run it along the bottom of the screen as you say it.
Wonderful. You can shop Melody by Melody. Get my bling. I'm bringing bling and things to life. Or you can purchase my other in motion line, which is the original painting murals that I did. And you can go to www.melody-by-melody.com. Also, you can go to the nonprofit website, which should be attached to that website soon on the bottom. Easy to see artsinc.com.
All right. Easy to see artsinc.com.
Yes.
Awesome. We're gonna have it rolling along the bottom of the screen here.
Okay.
Anything else you wanna say? Anybody that you wanna give shouts out to?
Shouts out to, of course, you, DJ Patable. Thank you so much. This is an honor. It really is. Rachel
Appreciate you
Gilman
having me.
Photography.
Mhm.
Thank you guys so much. It's quite an honor.
Absolutely, absolutely. We are here in the VIP room with Melody Doyle. Man, can't say enough about her. Make sure y'all go to the website, check out her clothes, check out her nonprofit. Be on the lookout for the Sounds of Blackness. They have when is that show coming up again? It's on the 20th?
The 20th, yes, General
20th of
Mills.
February?
Is it? Yeah.
Yep, General Mills.
Mm-hmm.
That's the Martin Luther King breakfast.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. I'll be there for that. Absolutely. I don't miss that. Thank you for coming. We enjoyed you.
Absolutely.
Until next time.
And remember, one love. Everybody, get ready.
I love it. Say peace.
Peace.